Hello again, it's me, workshop number 16, and the mic is on this time. I do apologize for that. I didn't realize that it wasn't working until I saw a message after the show. I finished and closed the show and was about to upload it to YouTube. So apologies for that. These things do happen. The only thing I've got to try and remember now is what I said, because I don't script this. So this week's about still life photography, and what you can do in your house, or if you get the opportunity like I've done, you'll see later on. Some of you have probably watched the show and seen the images of me going into a showroom and taking some photographs of the Mercedes SLS. So let's go straight to the Flickr group and make comment on the work of the great uploads that we've had over this last week, and thank you so much for what you've been sharing with us. And as I said, well, you obviously didn't hear me, did you? This image here is a great capture, Christopher, of this fella. I don't quite understand what he's doing there with at the machine, but that doesn't matter. You've caught him doing something. Whether you've asked him for the image or not, that doesn't matter, because you've got a great response here with his facial expression. I really like it. You've got some beautiful light on the left hand side, which is lighting his face, and shadow on the right hand side. So good use of light here. Maybe a little bit of a vignette would add to it on the left hand side, but I'm okay with this. I think it's a really great capture, and I was really surprised when I scrolled down and saw that you've been using the Nikon D810 for this image. It's a great camera, I know it is, with the 50mm 1.4 lens, used at f2.8. That's why you got such beautiful bokeh at the back here, the out of focused area, at ISO 200 1/400th of a second, and the flash was off, which obviously you can see, because if the flash had been on, you would have got this right side you would have had this shadow detail, which is great, and it adds to the image. So well done for that. I really like it. It's a great capture. Thanks for uploading, Christopher. This one as well, it did make me laugh when I saw it, because you've got the great separation of these three individuals all doing something with their mobile devices, waiting for the call. She may be talking, actually. It looks as though she's got her earphones in there. She's texting. She's probably waiting for a call. So it's a lovely observation that you've managed to capture here of these three just generally sitting around waiting to do their create conversation rather on the mobile phone. So it's lovely. Threes works well, doesn't it? Beautiful shadow in the background, nicely darkened out. You've got some light in the front. Concentration is on these three people in the front here. Nice capture, Christopher. Like it. Again, you've used the Nikon D810 50mm 1.4, this time at 5.6. That's probably why you've got that a little bit in more detail than what would be nice, but it doesn't matter. It's in shadow. Moving on, yeah, John, I've taken a couple of these images as well, especially in the winter where the foliage is gone from the trees. It's a great silhouette, the tree against the skyline with the fluffy clouds. Great silhouette, beautiful, good line of the bush here as well. So yeah, I like this, and well done for you for looking up and taking the opportunity to see what's around you rather than looking at head height and looking down all the time. And a great camera, XE2, Fujifilm XE2 with the 1855 kit lens. And as we know, Fuji users, that is not what I would term as a kit lens. Nice shot. This one, that's a great capture. Love this guy's expression. I'd love to know the conversation you had with him afterwards, and you've called it nice guy, using a Tamron 90mm 2.8. And it's interesting here, actually, which we noticed when I scrolled down, using the Sony, it doesn't register the aperture setting because it's a third-party lens. It sets the speed because the camera set the speed at 1/640th and the ISO, but it doesn't register the aperture. So That's fine. It's just the way third-party lenses work with the Sony DSLRs. Sorry, the mirrorless camera. So, but you can see this is beautiful bokeh at the back here, all out of focus, lovely. So I'm guessing it's around about 2.8, possibly f4, but or 3.5 probably. But it's a lovely portrait, and I can only assume you've had a great conversation with this guy. You've got a beautiful expression, so it's a really nice portrait, street portrait. Well done. The next one up, again, there's a couple of images like this on your website or in your Flickr group. So I'm assuming you do quite a lot of this, and hats off to you for doing it. This person probably a little bit down on his luck at the moment, but he's giving you a great expression. His hair and his beard and cigarette and his gesticulation with his hand there. Great shot. A lot of people like this work as well. There's no EXIF data available, unfortunately, with this image, but it's going down very well with people that watch you on Flickr. So it's a great street portrait. I think in actually on this one, yeah, I went right in close. Look at this great detail on the eye, which is an important point to make. And when we come to the photograph that Peter made with his photograph in Bromley, Stephen, I like this image as well. Threes, nice angle, triangle view, triangle of the table that they're or bench that they're on. The beautiful focus, sharp focus of the sparrow here, very nicely done. Thrown out of focus in the background. 1.8, great use of the aperture setting using the Canon EOS 7D with an 18-35 lens. Nice capture, beautifully sharp on this bird, as I mentioned. Well, you didn't hear me, but as I spotted earlier on. This is my favorite photograph of the week by Stephen. Love this image. Beautiful shadows at the back here and in the front, but you've highlighted the center of the cement works in the valley with the smoke coming out the top of the chimney. Beautiful work. And you've edited this really nicely using the Canon EOS 7D, 186mm lens, 120 for the second at f11, and that shows the depth of field that you've created there to go through this mine to pick up the houses and the trees in front. Yeah, good work there using that photograph of the cement works in Hope Valley. As I say, my favorite of the week. This image from Peter, I like this, and it shows the quality, in my opinion, of the lens. In this case, the 18-55. I'm going to call it a kit lens because that's what it is. But the quality of the lens, it purely outstrips any kit lens on the market at the moment, in my opinion. A very sort of porcelain type look to her face here has been achieved. I would like to see a little bit more light detail in the eye here, which I'm sure you can get out of the image in Lightroom. I'm going to try and do some work on that in the next few weeks when I can make sure that what I'm actually showing on my screen you are seeing. Chrome has a tendency to play about with it, but this is a nice image. She obviously doesn't know you've taken it, and I think this is great detail. I wanted to see what ISO. Yeah, 1600 ISO. So that's probably why we're seeing a little bit of the film grain, as I would tell it, that the Fuji cameras sensors throw out. Nonetheless, I love it, and I love the strands of hair here, detail, and you've f5. It's a good capture. It's a good capture. I'd like to see some detail in the eyes. Fella in Bromley or Bromley, Victoria, and this is what I was mentioning before with regards to getting detail in the eye, and this one is just slightly out of focus. The moustache is, and the veins on his face here are in focus, but the eyes aren't. And I think if you'd been able to capture that, I think that using the 56 at 1.4 is is what has caused this effect. If you'd probably gone to 2.8 or 3.5, you would have had both moustache and eye in focus, and that would have helped the image greatly. It's a great image because when you zoom out and look at it from an acceptable viewing distance, those little issues don't show as much. And to be quite honest with you, a lot of people wouldn't probably even notice it. But I'm trying to help you through in a process here. I think that if you had perhaps just taken a little bit of time to choose the shutter speed, the aperture rather, not the shutter, the aperture. You got enough shutter speed here to move around with. If that had gone to 3.5, I think you would have had that in a very good sharp image, moustache through to the eye. But nonetheless, it's a good capture. I like the expression. I'm wondering what the conversation was afterwards. He looks a bit displeased about it, but well done for taking the shot. So that was the Flickr group this week. Thanks again for posting those up. I really enjoy looking at them, and I hope you don't mind the comments that I make. I'm literally trying to find points which I'm hoping will improve your photography and give you an opportunity to think about them in the future as you go along. So this week I'm going to talk about again still life. You're hearing it for the first time. Still life photography, where you basically can do this at home. You can do it in your kitchen, in your bathroom, if the light is good through a particular window that you particularly like, the light that comes through your lounge, on the table, and just set some items up to take some images. And it's a great way of practicing to really get the best out of photography using light. Now, the light can be either supplied by the flash, obviously, from your camera, a simple table lamp, a candle light, or natural light through a window. Use some reflection of a white reflected card, or a black reflected card, or grey, or muslin as well. White muslin will reflect light, subdued light onto your subject matter. And really what you're looking to do here is not necessarily produce what I would term a product shot, simply putting a vase in the middle of the table and taking a photograph. You're looking to create some fine artwork by a little bit of inventiveness and a little bit of artistry in that. So what I'll do from that is go straight to Pinterest here and show you some of the work which I've picked out. Just before I do that, just in case I forget, because as I say, I don't actually script these workshops out. This is all straight off the bat. The book that I'm recommending to you this week is by Abelardo Morel, and this work is amazing work. If you get into still life photography, there was another book which I showed you a couple of weeks ago by Joel Meyerowitz, which is of a particular style where he copied photographically the painting style of an artist in Italy, which is another good book to look at. So go back to the previous versions of that. But I'll just show you some images which Abelardo's taken here of still life work that he's used taken from his house, in his house rather. Let me find another one which is more pertaining to the subject matter which we're talking about today. This one here, showing the leaves of a book where he's folded them over, folded them in, and created it all natural light. There's another set of images here, the milk bottle on the edge of the table, and then the other side, the mirror of the stand-up mirror reflecting with the shadow on the wall. So that's the book by Abelardo Morel. It's produced by Phaidon. You might want to check that one out. Let's go to screen share and check out the Pinterest site and show some examples. Mainly this show came about because a good friend of mine, Paulina Plotnikova, won an award for her work, and her work is very well known in Kent and across the UK in actual fact now, for especially with her work with flowers and her still life photography, and I'll come to those in a second. But this first one really sums up what I'm talking to you about, some inventiveness and some artistry using just natural light. It's a fork with a bowl, and you can see the shadow. And the very interesting point here that I find, in the sense that he's given it a top, he's given it a top to the image. So it just that final detail to it, which adds that little bit more. I can see now there's an edge to the table, and this fork with a lovely shine on the stem, the shadow, and the shadow of the bowl, and the shadow of the fork in the bowl just ties it all together. André Cortège, one of the greats of photography, well known and highly recommended by Henri Cartier-Bresson, who was another great photographer. Let's move on to the next one. This is from the book, Abelardo Morel's book, The Paper Bag. Naturally lit, creased and crunched, very tight crop, but just to create some form of fine art photography with a very simple product. This one itself here, although it says down here, Abelardo Morel, I believe, is by André Cortège, this wilting tulip. And let's just scroll down. See, yes, André Cortège, you can see, but it was posted in other areas. And natural light, look, shadow on this side, and a very simple, beautiful image created with those items. Another image by Cortège, pen, ink, bowl of fruit, a key and a mirror on the tablecloth. Simply positioned and placed, keeping that triangle and the number of items. Now, this is the work by Polina Plotnikova, where she uses in her work, a lot of her work is using a table, but all this is appears to be moving, doesn't it? You've got the vase slightly tilted, you've got the suspended fruit, the suspended leaf, the suspended tissue and fruit, and it's all basically looking and appearing as though it's going to hit this table. You can see the natural light, which is coming from the left-hand side, which is probably diffused over a window, and she's probably used some kind of fill-in flash from the front to just and show some light on the side of this vase. And it's down to composition at the end of the day. She's got the angle of the table there to give a depth of field feeling to it, and the line of the wall down there. Very simply done, beautifully colored, and some good work in editing in Lightroom or Photoshop. This is another one of Paulina's where she's used another table, pomegranates, beautiful burgundy red tablecloth here with the clashing with the pomegranates, and this table with the sauce boat there, the chrome sauce boat, or pewter probably as it looks at, but it's creating a little bit, and the pewter tray, by the way, creating some fine artwork with a little bit of inventiveness. Naturally lit, I would think, probably just a reflection on this side to reflect the light off this boat, the sauce boat, but otherwise straight lit. Another one here. She does love to do photography of white on white and just a flicker of color suspended. Now, the way she would have suspended these is purely by using fishing wire, but of course edited out. You won't see that in the image of those. Sorry, I came out of that. You don't want to go to the website. And this one of falling apples, the bowl's been tilted, natural light coming in, that table again, but she's got the suspended apples. This one here is by Abelardo Morel, simply a pear reflecting in the mirror. And that mirror is what I showed you in the book earlier on. I'm sorry the image is not bigger than this, but I hope you can see it well enough. The paper bag, the crunched up paper bag again, very tight crop, isn't it? Very tight crop. one candle, two candles, mirror, self-lit, work by Morel again. And this one as well, wine glass full of water with the fork in it, and the water doing the diffraction to give you that strange shape of the fork. You may have seen the show that a couple of weeks ago where I spoke to Ted Vieira, a jazz guitarist, turned photographer. Fantastic work, fantastic musician, I might add, but fantastic photographer as well. And this image was taken of one of his guitars with the natural light coming from the candle. Showing the texture of the guitar, and he's not frightened to let certain aspects of it go into shadow. Another one using candlelit. This was taken when he was testing out the new Fuji X Pro 2. I know this is vodka, he told me later. 2 photographs on the table there of his previous work. An old SLR film camera lit by the candle, and just some sheeting at the background there to give you an idea of something's in the background, but otherwise the concentration is on this glass here with the drink inside. As I say, Ted is not frightened to throw things into deep shadow. And here he's taking a photograph of a trumpet. And you can just pick out certain items and details, the horn at the front, and then the material that the trumpet is placed on. So really playing with the artistry of the item in a still life situation in the house. Now, these next few images are my images taken of the Mercedes SLS in a showroom. And it was one of the cars which was finished in a sort of a matte pearlescent type color. I decided to, in the editing process, to switch it into mono and to really just concentrate on the lighter aspects of the body, the spokes, and certain parts of the vents. And I was very pleased with what I managed to create here using this. And really, these images were taken at the time with a Nikon 1 series camera with a 10-30 zoom lens on, which is equivalent to around about a 27 to 55 lens, that sort of thing. I think that's the way the crop worked out. But I was really pleased with the way that I managed to use shadow and emphasize the matte finish of the car. These are basically 6x6 inch prints, nothing bigger than that, which suited exactly what I was looking to create for this short study. There's around about 10 images that I made of this particular car, and this one was the final one of the rear wing and the light cluster with the wheel again showing the matte of the finish on the bodywork and bringing some shadow in as well. So you don't necessarily have to do still life in your house. If you get an opportunity to go to a local showroom for bikes or cars, you and ask for permission. Don't just go straight in and start taking photographs. But you ask for permission. Sometimes the guys will let you to do it, although they will obviously say you're not allowed to post them onto your site to sell. You can demonstrate them on Flickr or Pinterest or your website, but not to sell on. So the next area which I think you should check out for still life photography is on 500px. I really love this site. You can just put in the search engine part of it and say still life, and these images will pop up. This one was taken by Marek. This one by Massimo Casa. And this one by Claudia Carpinato. I think you say Claudia or Claudia. And this one of Jelena by Jelena Jovanovic. And this one as well, which I really like. I love the texture of the base here. I'm assuming that's some kind of a table taken by Mikola Lunov with these beautiful apples, can, and some other items added in there. One more by Paulina, which I know this image very well indeed. Seen this in the competitions at the Camera Club with the pomegranates, and this beautiful urn at the back here on a silver tray. White linen, black table, tilted glass. Very, very simply lit. Probably just purely reflected light from the window. Probably no flash at all. And so that is the examples that I managed to pick out from Pinterest. So let's talk about equipment very quickly then. What do you need? Obviously, you need a camera. It doesn't matter what camera you've got. You can even do this with a small compact camera. But your camera that you've got, there's no need for you to go out and buy something special. And the lens, well, any lens really. 35, 50, 18, 55, 28, 70, 200mm lens, whatever you want to use. Basically, what we're looking to do here is to create some artistry, some form of inventiveness with regards to a product or something which you found in the house which you want to use. Bring in linen, bring in patterns, bring in tables, bring in back walls. Have a real good think about it. Look for reflected light. You must introduce shadow, and obviously the light is either natural, either by the flash gun or by your candlelit, if you want to use candlelit, or as I say, straight from a window, from a preferred window that may give you a bit of a pattern, which is interesting to the subject matter. Suspending items, use fishing wire. But you've got to remember, when you do that in your editing process, you've got to make sure you get rid of that fishing wire, even where you've tied it round or through the item that you're suspending. So be careful when you're tidying up on items like that. If it's a suspended item, you must show it as something that's falling, not that's being hung, unless you want to show that. Maybe you want to. Here's an idea. How about holding an apple in some string, and have the string just off the top of the image, so you just got the string falling straight down and the apple. There's a thought just off the top of my head. So with doing still life, really it's a form of practice for you, because by doing this sort of work will enhance your skills of seeing the light. And that is what photography is all about. That's what separates you, the photographer, from the snappers, with respect to those people that enjoy photography but don't study photography. And my reason for putting these workshops on is to help you to improve your skills. So we come to the assignment. Based on this particular workshop number 16, the assignment is to post 3 images over the next 2 weeks. There won't be a workshop next week because I'm away on business. Post up an image which contains any one or all 3 of these items: the knife, fork, and the spoon. You can just have the knife if you want, or singular, whatever, or double them up, suspend them, lay them on plates, put them on material, put them after someone's finished eating their food. But I'm looking for some artistry. I'm not looking for a product shot where the fork is just laid straight on the table. You've gone overhead, taken the shot, boom. Let's get a little bit some artistic work into it. Let's get a little bit of a feeling into it. Let's create some shadow from the subject. And I must have one of these items in the photograph. If the fork is stuck into an apple, that's good enough for me. But the photograph must have one of those items or all 3 of those items in the image. You can post 3 images up on the Flickr. I'll make the adjustment tomorrow. Use the 2 weeks to think about what you're going to do. Maybe you want to sketch it out first before you actually create it. Think about the background. Think about where you're going to take it. Think about the lighting, how you're going to create it, whether you want to reflect the light onto your subject matter, or whether you just want to use a background muslin type material to produce the shot. I'm going to have a crack at it. It's not something that I do on a regular basis, but I'm certainly going to have a go. So we'll be posting up. So 3 images with 1 or 2 or 3 of these items, which must be in the knife, fork, or the spoon. And 3 images posted up over the next 2 weeks. And then the next workshop will be discussing those assignment posts into the Flickr group. I really hope you want to get involved with this subject. We can have some good fun here, because, as I say, by doing this, I think you'll start to realize how using still life as a subject matter will in actual fact improve your photography, because you are studying the light to create some artistry, some fine art photography. If you get a chance to look at the book by Morel or the book by Joel Meyerowitz, that could be of great use to you as well. Added to that, why not go into 500px and just put in still life and see what's being created by some of the photographers out there that have decided that they want to do still life photography as their main genre of photography. And of course, a lot of people that do this move on to commercial photography using still life as the main basis of their work. So I hope this has covered the mistake I made earlier on. I do apologize for that. I didn't even realize. I've got to perhaps have a chat with one of my pals and just send me a little Facebook message and say, yeah, I can hear you. Everything's running fine. We'll get that organized. It's the first time I've ever done it. So apologies for that. I hope it hasn't spoilt the show. You'll be able to pick it up on YouTube at a later date in any case. I've had one guy come back and watch the show again. So many thanks indeed for doing that. Have a great couple of weeks. Work hard at this assignment. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to have a little crack as well, but I've got a little bit of business, real work to do next week. Sorry about that, fellas. And I'll see you in around about 2 weeks' time for workshop 17, which will be discussing the assignment. Have a great time. Enjoy your shooting out there. And thanks for being so patient with me. I hope you've enjoyed the show. All the best to you. Bye for now.